All right. Thank you for joining. We are lucky enough to have a very important guest with us today, Steve Favis. Steve has shown a number of very interesting things across the internet over the last couple of weeks regarding Maui. So, Steve, thank you for making time for us.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me, Bill. Really appreciate it.
So to get us started, you're going to show some pretty darn interesting stuff, and I think it would help folks to understand just how did you come to even know how to find this data and present it the way you're going to show it to us.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. So I've been a programmer, a computer programmer. I started learning really young when I was about 6 years old. My father was visually handicapped, and he had an obsession in the mid '80s or early '80s. 1984 was when he got our first computer. He was visually handicapped. He was a practicing physician, and he got really obsessed with technology and computers. Very hot at the time, basically the '84 era. So he got our first home computer. My brother didn't like watching. I thought all his TV shows were boring. So my best friend was my computer. And Dad got into programming. So my first programming language was actually Amiga Basic, and it was just reading programming books to him basically.
Huh.
No, yeah, nobody, no 6-year-old wants to study programming, but I just wanted to help my dad. And, at 6 years old, you're able to read stuff. So I was reading it and helping him type and build the programs and everything. So that was my first exposure to it. But the second part of that was games. I was also really into games. Went to college for computer science and started teaching computer science, stuff like that in college as a teacher. And I also worked in the game industry for 12 years. So I have a very, very solid programming background, but not only that, but physics and astronomy. I was astronomy. I actually wanted to be an astronomer, and switching from computers. We started becoming boring after a while, so I wanted to become an astronomer. So I was an amateur astronomer. In college, I still considered myself an amateur astronomer, basically. So that's kind of my technical background, but also my technological innovations. I was Intel's 2018 top innovator of the year. I'm currently making robots, advanced robotics, and I won some awards for my robotic designs and developments. Basically, that's my background.
Wow, that's a pretty strong background. I, back in the early '80s, a lot of people were still getting used to the concept of even having a computer around. So that was pretty early. So in the last few weeks following what we've seen in Maui and the odd circumstances, the odd reactions to what's going on in Maui from the authorities. People have been just begging for more information, and by gosh, you've been able to find some. So maybe take us through how you were able to begin looking and what you began coming across, please.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Yeah. So when I also worked for Electronic Arts. But academically, as an exercise in learning and training, they always have you rebuild the wheel, basically. And when commercial programming is completely different. They don't want you building a wheel when you just get one and throw it on the car, right? So they want you to produce a viable product as quickly as possible. So I knew this intuitively before I went into computer science, but it got validated when I worked for a big corporate company like Electronic Arts. They use game engines. Obviously, they're not building their game engines from scratch or whatnot. They're not manually, because they're not rebuilding the wheel. So the first question I had was, I wasn't expecting to find something floating above Hawaii at the time. I just wanted to see the fires looked really suspicious to me, and I was in the Paradise area when the Paradise fire happened. So I was like, something's wrong here.
It's Paradise, California.
Yeah, Paradise, California. That's correct. Yeah, the Paradise fires were really nasty. And I was maybe about 150 miles away from them, and the smoke was just nasty. I had to leave the state. That was the first time I heard that there was about directed energy weapons or whatnot or being attacked. I was extremely skeptical of that. I was just thinking it was a natural fire. Now, after Maui happened and I saw the videos and like cars being melted around grass that's still green and glass being melted and alloy wheels being melted, I was like, all right, this is weird. All I wanted to find out was there something in space? And I'm not a physicist or a PhD physicist, but I know how to use their tools using programming, basically. So what I did was I tried to find the most accurate orbital propagator. And the best orbital propagator that I found was called SDP4, which is a subset of a program called MATLAB. MATLAB is I was already familiar with MATLAB because all the engineers, all the science nerds use it for stuff like engineering, physics simulations and stuff like that. But they have an orbital propagator in there that's called SDP4. It's extremely accurate. Within a couple minutes, of where the satellite would be from telemetry data. So I also found that NORAD owns a site called space-track.org. So space-track.org is actually ran by NORAD, so it's very credible satellite data. Telemetry data, orbital mechanics, extremely very complex math. If somebody were to manually calculate these things, I mean, it would take literally even a proficient PhD physicist, whatever, would they'd be sitting there all day, basically, maybe a week to calculate orbital propagations. MATLAB is so proficient in basically you just enter the parameters. It's a small file, telemetry file called TLE file. And what happens is NORAD tracks this stuff and they update the TLE file I think it's every 8 hours. I just found that out about every 8 hours because the orbital satellites may change. It may change their orbits, rotate around or whatnot. So what is it? I found, okay, I was like, okay, I found credible data. This happened maybe within a week or two of the fire. I started tracking the telemetry data and I learned how to program in MATLAB. Within a couple of days, it was a little brutal at first, but I realized that after I got MATLAB down, I'm a multi-language programmer. I'm not just married to one code. I've been programming with different languages all my life. I found out that I could track one satellite with 8 lines of code. I was like, I'm confident in this. I'm going to publish the source code. So there's only 8 lines of code per satellite. And what happened was I was just kind of hacking through all the satellites that were over the area. I only went through 38 satellites. And the funny thing is, like, there's thousands of satellites up there. It's true. There's a lot of satellites, but like 80% of them are Starlink. And then what I was looking for was a weapon that has a lot of batteries. It's going to be a large satellite. Not only that, it's going to come from a nation that has launch capabilities. China, America, Russia, they all have launch capabilities. And not only that, they have to have a massive battery bank in there to power a strong laser that could shoot from space. So I did, again, I'm a physics nerd, physics, astronomy passion. I started checking out the math behind it. And it turns out that with a 48-ton payload, the March line of rockets can launch 48 tons, which is huge. I mean, a Tesla car is about maybe 5,000 or 6,000 pounds. So you could factor in, if it just had batteries and a laser with satellite power, you could fit in like 4 or 5 Tesla batteries in there. It's a lot of batteries. So the energy did exist, and this is being validated every day by physicists and engineers on my website. The energy is there that exists with common batteries of today to go into space to power a strong laser. I had first calculated a 20 megawatt laser, which is extraordinarily powerful. But I noticed later on that China's already zapping stuff with petawatt laser, and the scale is like it's metric. It goes kilowatt, but it's still strong. Like your cat toy would be, way under a watt. A watt would be like eye damaging, causing issues. But we start going to, it goes kilowatt, megawatt, gigawatt, petawatt, exawatt, zettawatt. And we're already using petawatt lasers right now. And what happened was I realized that we probably have China, most likely, if they're already publishing data about a petawatt laser, I was like, okay, well, how strong of a laser could they power in space, basically? And what happened was I realized that with they also used a different technique. It was a Nobel Prize winning category called chirp pulse amplification, which would take a 10 megawatt laser and make it up to the gigawatt range with special optics and physics, basically. So I knew that roughly China has access to like at least 70 gigawatt lasers with or without chirp pulse amplification. So everybody's saying, the satellites are too high, too far away. No, the physics is there. A 70 gigawatt laser shot from space, it's not like a burn or like sunburn or something. It's like you're literally almost changing matter instantly, basically. And it explains why the damages are erratic, because the atmosphere is still unpredictable. There's turbulence, there's distortion, there's wind, all that affects lasers. So this is why we're seeing this erratic pattern of damage on Maui. So going back to what I was doing, I said, okay, well, it's the simplest, fastest way I could use an orbital propagator. And again, SDP4 was it. And so I once I eliminated the satellites, and these satellites on NORAD are tracked as unknown. So these are satellites. They're not like a payload or a rocket body that's just floating up there. NORAD tracks these People's Republic of China satellites as unknown, which made it really suspicious. A large satellite, People's Republic of China, unknown. So I was like, oh, this is weird. So it only took me 38 to find these 3 or 4 satellites that are up there, basically.
So one question, something you just mentioned. So you can see from the tracking from NORAD that it's associated with the People's Republic of China.
These are PRC, People's Republic of China satellites. NORAD tracks from the launch up, from it going up in space and the telemetry data. People's Republic of China.
They just don't know what's in it, but they know that's where it came from.
And they're large.
And they're large. Okay.
Yes.
Very good.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, when you start talking about smaller satellites like Starlink satellites, that's obviously not suspect. You need a lot of energy to push this powerful of a laser up there, basically. So what I was hoping not to find anything. I was hoping, oh God, I hope this is a wildfire. I hope this is a wildfire. I hope this is a wildfire. And then when I hit one, I was like, oh crap, that's not good. And what happened was I realized there's 3 fires when I was doing this. I was like, oh crap, there's 3 fires. And then what happened was I noticed another one passed, caused a fire, and then another one passed again, caused another fire at the exact same time it was over. So there's like 3 fires, 3 satellites. Way too much coincidence.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to walk on you. A lot of people don't realize, they know about Lahaina, but they may not realize that there were other fires on, we'll call it the main part of the island, if you will, and they're quite separated from Lahaina. So it is interesting that they would occur in the same similar segment of time, yet are separated by miles, between all of these.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And they're all on Maui, and all the satellites were above them. And again, if you're running into directed energy weapon or a laser, you're going to want to reduce as much as atmospheric interference as you can. So obviously you don't want to go, if the Earth is here and you don't want to go at a steep angle, you want to minimize the distance between where the energy weapon is firing from and the surface of the Earth. You don't want to go at a steep angle. There may be some of an angle depending on orbital mechanics, but you want to reduce that. So there's 3, and I did find another one on this program is the latest for there's 3, and then there potentially could be more out there. Again, I quit after 38. It was a little scary. It was too affirming, and I just stopped after that. But I can go backtrack and back propagate NORAD data to investigate other fires now, basically.
Yeah. Well, you put together a way of folks being able to actually see what you found. Should we bring that up, and you can start describing a bit of what you were able to locate?
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead, load up my screen, and then I'll show you the program. So this is the program. This runs on Windows. As you see, you interact with it right here. It's static right now because I'm not running the satellites. This is Hawaii here. Obviously, I believe Maui's right here. You can see my mouse probably, right?
Yes. Yeah, we can. It's small, but we got it.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So this is Maui right here. And if you look to the left here, there's 3 fires here. And you have to, on the program, if you see my mouse moving down here, the program only tracks a 24-hour UTC clock because satellites use 24-hour UTC clocks, which is fine. We just have to convert the local time, which is what I did. I converted the local time, the 3 fires here. For example, the first fire was the Olinda fire. This is at 10:47 p.m. on August 7th. And this converts to August 8th, 2023, 8:47 UTC. So I'm going to zoom out on the program here, and I'm going to run this. And this program is available downloadable on my website, which is now down, MrRobots.com, MisterRobots.com. I'll fix it though.
So folks have been downloading this to cross-check what your findings are. Yes.
Yeah, it's a possibility. I could have exceeded my bandwidth limits, which is possible, but I think Wix would have notified me. But I am getting a substantial amount of traffic. But I'll fix the website now. Maybe down at the time, but I'll try to fix this as well. So as you can see, if I zoom out here, you can see all the satellites I tracked. There's only 38 here, right? I mean, these are all the large unknown satellites from NORAD. So you see them orbiting here, and you can interact. The left mouse button, you can roll around. You see satellites that are going everywhere. And if I play it again, this is at 50 speed time, so they're not moving this fast. If I go to real time by clicking the speed dial here, I'm going roughly about almost the same speed they would be in real time. So you see how much time they have to engage a target or discharge their weapon. So they have plenty of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrub through here at August 8th, 2023 at 8:47 UTC. So right now I'm at August 8th, 7:55. So I'm going to zoom in on Maui a little bit, and you can see here as we get to 8:47, 8:42. So there's already two satellites above at that time. So you can see that this one has this. I found a few more since the publication. Basically, obviously, this is the latest updated program. So you see, if I can move the position. You can see that they're right over Hawaii right now. So there's two of them here, 55-255, which is NORAD ID, another 55-248. This is right above at 8:47. So if I play the video, you can see how much time. I'm going to play it in real time. I'm going to rewind it back a little bit. I'm going to play it. I'm going to rewind it back a little bit. So you can see the passing happen. I'll read the timeout if you can't read it. So I'm going to play it forward now a little bit faster than real time. So now you can see them passing over. So this is 8:41. I'm going to accelerate it just so we don't burn through too much time. But you can see how much time this is going one time faster than normal speed. You see they're passing over, and right about 8:47 is about right. 8:42, 8:43. Actually, this is the one right here. I'm sorry about that. I made a mistake. This is the one right here. This is 8:40. This is the one that passed over to 8:47. That's the direct fire one. This is 56733. This is the one right here. I'm sorry about that. But this is the one right here. And you can see how exactly at 8:47 was reported. So give it 5-10 minutes for the fire report. You can see the object is right there above, directly above. That's optimal firing range. So you can see how close it is to Maui. So we'll go to the next one. Go ahead.
If this were, if this were as it appears perhaps that it was, you'd want it as close to overhead as you could, so that it again minimizes the distance and in turn minimizes the amount of atmosphere something has to travel through, because the atmosphere can diffuse it or reduce the energy.
There's turbulence, there's blooming. Even if when you take a small laser pointer and you zap it across the room over a distance, it gets blurry. We have to deal with atmospheric particles, turbulence, air pressure. There's a whole bunch of distortion that happens through these things. But the thing is, they're so high energy, even if they lose 50 to 60% of their energy upon discharge, by the time it gets to the surface of the Earth, it's still a significantly powerful weapon.
Now, the other thing I want to mention at this point too, we're seeing the track, and we're seeing that it was in, I'll call it the appropriate proximity. Is there anything that you see on the tracking that would indicate that there was actually a discharge, or is that something we have to use as sort of circumstantial, that it was in the right place?
Yeah. Obviously, I can't prove that there was an energy weapon discharge at the time, but the validation of that is the consequences of the timing of the fires and the non-coincidental pass of the time of the fires. Again, we're at 8:47. It's right overhead, and so yeah. Obviously, I can't prove that. I have been getting anonymous source videos from people that witnessed this, and I'm going to scrub the data. They're very scared. They don't want to share their data, so I'm scrubbing the data. Eventually, I'll find a way of showing that data, basically. So there is some video that has appeared that is popping up. People are contacting me directly, so I just want to maintain their.
I want to kind of head off some of the folks that are going to say, "Oh yeah, but you can't prove it," right? Well, yeah, you can't prove there was a discharge, but as correlation of timing and overpasses in multiple cases begins to stack up, then that would tend to say, well, one coincidence is interesting, multiple coincidences perhaps has more weight.
Yeah, not only that, but I'm going to try. I'm still going to analyze this Maui fire. I want the video data I'm getting. I'm going to try lining up the time that this passes over on the timestamp on the video that I'm getting, because I mean, there was somebody recording this almost right exactly when it was happening. I don't think it was this. This was, I think, the Lahaina fire. I think they witnessed this Lahaina fire, and they got it on video from a distance. So I'm still analyzing that data. Again, I want to scrub the metadata and provide an anonymity for that person.
Good. Yep.
So let's go to the next fire. So the next fire is fire number. This is the first one, was called the Olinda fire. That's the one we're seeing right now. This is the weapon that caused the Olinda fire. The next one's the Lahaina fire. This is the devastating one that killed a lot of people. And this is at 1637 UTC on August 8th. So I'm going to scrub through on August 8th, 1637. All right. So this is the next object. This is the second fire. This is the Lahaina fire. I'm going to play this in real time so you can see this. The time is UTC 1637 UTC. I'm going to play this in real time just to see how much time the satellite has to pass. This is going only 0.23 times faster, which is almost real time. So I'll just accelerate. So this is 1632, and again, this is going passing right now. So I'm going to play it a little bit faster just so we don't have to wait for all of it. This is now 1632, 1633. Yeah, there we go. So again, the fire was reported at 1637, and again, it's not, nobody's going to report the fire instantly happens. So right over 1633. So I would guess this fire was caused, that started, the energy was discharged maybe 1630 or something like that, and then it took several minutes to report the fire. But you see here, this is where it's at, right above Maui, right there. You can see the, zoom out a little bit. You can see the altitude of it basically. So.
And the reason, just so folks understand, the reason the lines move around the way they are, we're looking through three-dimensional space. Yeah.
Yes.
So there can be, some of these orbits can be slightly above others and so forth. But that's what you're showing with that particular satellite at the moment is actually quite in line with almost directly overhead. Yes.
Yeah. It's in line enough, basically.
Yep. So
we'll go through the next one. This is the third fire on August 8th at 2130 UTC. So I think I found an additional one on this since I originally reported on this. August 8th, 2130. So I'm going to scrub through the timeline on the bottom here. August 8th at 2130. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I could track this, but it was a little hard zoomed in.
Yep.
2130 is when it was reported. Okay, so we're at 2130 right now. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to pull this back a little bit. I'm going to play it so I can see the passes. Well, actually, we're at 2030, not 2130. Sorry about that. So we're approaching 21, 2110, 2115, 2120. And here's about 2130. This is the one that was always repeatedly passing over. So we're now at 2127. The fire was reported at 2130. So you can see the passover right there. You can see it right there. And this is a little faster than real time, just very, very slightly over. So you can see that's directly over.
And even though it appears to be moving slowly, I think you mentioned earlier, it wouldn't take too long for this to discharge enough energy to cause some of the problems we're seeing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not a constant laser on, it's a burst. It's bursting at a very high frequency to not only reduce the battery discharge. People at first, the engineers were first thinking, oh, if you blow up the batteries, if you discharge all at once, of course you will. That's why you use computers to control the amount of energy to reduce the batteries heating, basically. So these are very fast pulses, maybe a second pulse. And the video data that I've seen so far is pulsing every few seconds. So validating this thing where it just doesn't discharge the whole battery. Even a pulse is still causing instant damage enough to heat up and cause fires and cause some exotic properties to happen. So again, we're at 2130. About 2130 is right here. So after the fire starts, the damage is done. Within a couple minutes, somebody reports it. And 2130. It's
right.
Within a couple minutes. It's still, I mean, that's only within 2 or 3 minutes difference, basically. So,
yep. So, folks on the ground, if in fact they happen to be looking in the right direction, would they actually see anything potentially, or would is the energy potentially invisible?
Yeah, that's a good question
about different wavelengths and so forth, and so I wanted to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think these are microwave attacks at these altitudes. I'm pretty sure microwaves would dissipate throughout the atmosphere. I've isolated it to the near spectrum, which is near infrared. Basically, near infrared is the ideal wavelength to use, and there is a strange reaction with blue. So blue doesn't seem to get burnt from near infrared. Basically, all of the colors will, but blue won't. So blue would be a countermeasure if anybody wants to protect themselves from this near infrared, basically. So
I may populate in some of the pictures that others have shared with. I think there's some Tommy Bahama umbrellas still standing intact. I mean, it's canvas. You would think that that would have been one of the first things to burn. Yet
Very,
they're
very
bright
normally
blue.
flammable. Sorry.
Yeah, they're bright blue and still standing there. And then I believe it was a gentleman by the name of Jeff Cygnus. He goes by that, at least on Twitter. And spotted out in Front Street a blue car, one of the few that is not burned down to bare metal and charred. And I think he talks about another one. So there's been some instances of blue materials that have been, left alone or at least burned less, perhaps by the heat of the surrounding cars and materials.
Yeah, so I've isolated to near, and that coincides with my speculation that a near infrared was used basically. And you cannot visibly see a near infrared beam basically. You can see it hitting something, and you could feel it if it's burning you, but you cannot visibly see it. But according to the videos that I'm looking up now, I want to know if there's some sort of distortion or changes that are causing flashes or whatnot. It could be from the ground or whatnot, from when it's reacting with the ground. But I'm doing some now research on the videos that were given to me from anonymous sources, basically. So there was something that was flashing, but I don't know if it was from the ground or from the actual atmosphere. So from what I'm seeing, it's near infrared. So
I understand. Would there be any other things that people would remember or experience? Would there be, I don't know, a interesting or odd smell or something, or any other characteristics that they might have noticed?
Yeah. So there's a random effect to it. I think what's happening is it's kind of more, instead of it being a laser beam or like a rifle fire where it just hits one thing, I think what we're seeing is kind of a shotgun scattering, like shotgun, the equivalent of shotgun being strewn about. So there's going to be random stuff that's going to get burnt. I keep on hearing about people saying, "Oh, there's a catalyst or some sort of chemical that was dropped beforehand." I don't think we even really need that for this much of this amount of laser energy. I think the damage that we see is literally all it really takes to cause this type of fire and this type of damage. And again, we're changing matter almost instantly. It's like we're igniting it instantly past the ignition point. So again, people keep on talking about like, oh, maybe they kidnapped the kids and took the kids or whatnot. Honestly, I hate to be morbid. I think they're just unrecognizable carbon right now, unfortunately.
There were pictures, and this is going to get a little graphic, so if you have kids in the room, you might want to step back. There were pictures on one of the videos that I've seen, maybe more than one, of animals, a couple of them left in the street. Simply, I mean, they're fully intact, yet they appear to be charcoal. And they appear to be killed instantly, I assume. Hopefully they didn't suffer. But I mean, it wasn't that they turned into ash. And one of the things that I found surprising was many of the homes ended up to be ash. And yet here's a living creature that seems to have been, just turned into charcoal, but it's still whole. Would that be consistent of this the shotgun kind of scenario you're describing?
Yeah, absolutely. Just imagine a shotgun. Not every pellet is going to have the same energy. So some of the hyper focused energy or the strong energy, the stuff that turns into carbon right away, and that could definitely be a result of more energy passing through. And then the dog, for example, getting killed, but instantly. And if dogs are in pain, they normally run away. So this dog, I've seen some dogs too, and they were definitely killed instantly. They weren't trying to run away or hide anything. Normally they'll try to hide or go to their owner or something, but it's really sad. But these dogs definitely, they might have been hit with less energy as some of these things like the cars that were zapped and, the engine blocks crumbling and stuff. So,
yeah. So as we go forward, I suspect you're going to have even more, both of your own discoveries, but also people coming to you with information that you can then blend into your findings. So before we're done, I want to help facilitate that without exposing other people's identities and so forth. Tell us a little bit. I mean, this is just part of what you do. You're also involved in other business initiatives in your area. So perhaps you could spend a few minutes talking to us about other stuff you're involved with and so forth, please.
Yeah, definitely. In like maybe a few months or maybe several months, I have some patents granted to me in advanced robotics. And how this all ties with technology is I'm dedicating all my life energy to protect us from stuff like this arcane nefarious technology. I have patents in advanced robotics. I learned how to train robots in a simulator at an accelerated pace from the game industry, basically. And I export that AI model to the actual physical system once it's built, basically. So that is my primary patent. That's what I really want to get out. It's really going to help solve our labor problem here. We obviously Americans can't compete with foreign slave labor, basically. So autonomy and robotics is the primary key to making America competitive in manufacturing again. And again, don't be scared of robots. Humans have something called DNA, so we're infinitely more complex than any robot will ever be. Basically, I mean, we have this DNA that's phenomenal technology. We don't even really understand it. Basically, if I had all the compute in the world, I'd never be able to recreate a DNA, even of the simplest one single celled organism. But so robots robots or AI will never go beyond even the most simple minded human beings. So robots, we're not going to hit the super intelligence threshold that everybody keeps on talking about. There will be a plateau. And I think Elon Musk said that one of these days the AIs are going to look at us as pets, but that's never going to be the case. We're always going to be looking at AI as pets, basically. So you don't have to worry about that stuff.
So I've seen some of the work that you've done where you talk about, the AI under human influence and control is potentially beneficial. It's this unbridled notion of, well, we just turn AI loose and let it go do what it wants to do, where it gets into the scary realm. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. AI engineers have this. They're chasing this dream that'll never happen. That we can just hit an easy button and it's going to learn everything. It's not going to work like that. Your AI is going to be handled like a child. You're going to have to help cater it and nurture it and make sure it's doing the stuff in line with human values and wanting to do human things, basically, that you want the robot to do, basically. So there will always be a catering element from here into eternity. You'll always have to coach and cater your AI just like you would a child or growing into adulthood, basically. So this is never going to go away from here to eons from now. And you're always going to have to train your AI within your values. And it's important to know that when foreign adversaries do have advanced weapons platforms with AI, the only thing that can fight AI is a better AI. So that's why I'm dedicating my life energy to protecting us with the best AI.
Interesting. Sounds like a noble pursuit. Are there places that, and I think you mentioned one of your websites earlier, would you like to share those so that folks can look at what you're doing and
Yeah,
build
definitely.
on it or find out more about you?
Yeah, definitely. Before the show, we started broadcasting this show, Mr. Robots, MisterRobots.com was taken down somehow. I think I got hacked or maybe exceeded my bandwidth limits. But my personal resume, as far as my developments, is at Steve, Steve, Favis, Favis. It looks like Davis, but with an F, SteveFavis.com. But my research and development and the things that I'm passionately working hard on to protect America is FAR, FAR corp.com. That's far-corp.com, which stands for Favis Advanced Robotics Corporation. Favis Advanced Robotics, basically far-corp.com. That's my technology websites, basically. And we will be running a crowdfunding campaign in the next maybe 6 months or something to help create technologies that protect America. Not only that, but help the human factor of, people doing backbreaking work in agriculture and manufacturing and stuff like that. So
that's great. Boy, your pursuits are sounding better and better by the minute. Thank you for that. All right. Well, thank you, Steve, for spending this much time with us today. I bet this is going to be the first of a number of different things we'll do together as we learn more and you learn more. So thanks again for the time, and we will look forward to seeing you next time.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Thanks for having me. Ping me anytime. I come on the show anytime. Okay, thank you for having me.
You bet. Thank you, brother.